What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers could use some trades, right? Ideally, somebody that slots in at that starting three that gives you real two-way capability. Somebody that could be a 3-and-D style wing, right? If you can get somebody like that, that would be awesome. But chances are you're probably going to have to trade your picks in that regard. Now, Luka has said that he believes that the Lakers have enough to win an NBA championship, which, he might not be wrong. Obviously, we'll see. And you got to keep in mind, Luka is Luka. He's one of the three best players in basketball. So he thinks like you and me could be on the team, and he'd be like, "Yep, I could take Tyler and you and go win an NBA championship," because he's that good and he believes it, right? But I do have my concerns with those type of comments because it's like, does Rob look at that and go like, "Oh, okay, good. Woo, we're in the clear. Luka likes it. He signed a new extension. He believes we can win. No need to do anything else." Right? We'll see. I hope that, because Rob said they're not satisfied. I'm hoping that he means that. Now, again, that doesn't mean you go make a trade just to make a trade and you end up setting yourself back. Lakers clearly have a plan. They have a timeline. We'll see how that works, right? Obviously, those things have to work out. But there is a question do the Lakers actually trade their first round pick? Now, I am somebody that if the deal is there, you do it. Like if there is a trade that is warranted to do so, you don't go, "Ooh, let's not do that so we can preserve our picks for something that may or may not happen 2 or 3 years from now." Because the Lakers' plan is to get a Giannis or a Jokic, which I've talked about. It is very unlikely that those guys, I'm not saying it's impossible, very unlikely though, that those guys actually hit free agency. Very rarely do guys of their caliber actually hit free agency, and then all of a sudden, now the Lakers can sign them for free. Chances are, if either team knows that, hey, they want out, they're going to try to make a trade. And they're either going to trade them to the highest bidder, or they might trade them to the Lakers, and the Lakers might have to pony up and do that, right? I don't know if that happens. Like, there's talks about Giannis being available this offseason still. I don't think anything as far as the Lakers getting one of those guys this season is going to happen, right? But next offseason, if the Lakers don't trade their first, one, they'd have a ton of cap space. I mean, enough cap space to just absorb either of them. But beyond that, they'd have, I believe it's 3 firsts that would be tradable plus several pick swaps, to where now the Lakers would have Austin Reeves, several firsts, plus a bunch of, pick swaps and stuff that they could maybe go get other pieces or whatever if the Milwaukee Bucks or the Denver Nuggets want one of those. You'd also still need the push and the nudge from either of those stars, right? You'd need Giannis to be like, "Hey, I only want to go to Lakers," or Jokic going, "I only want to go to Lakers," to make something like that work realistically, right? Because you do have teams like Houston and the Spurs that if Giannis is like, "Hey, I'm willing to go to these 5 teams," there's still teams that could outbid the Lakers, even with 3 firsts and, 2 or 3 pick swaps and all that other stuff, right? But if the Lakers, right, if their plan really is to get that other star, they would be more equipped next season in order to land said star, right? Because you could also sign and trade LeBron James, which is very likely to happen because he's not going to want to go to a bad team. He's going to want to go to a Cleveland or something like that. He's not going to take a vet minimum. He might take a discount, but he's not going to take a vet minimum, right? So chances are you're like signing and trading him for like a Darius Garland or something, or maybe you're still doing the Garland and Allen type of trade where you're landing those. Now the Lakers have Darius Garland, Austin Reeves, Jared Allen, plus 3 firsts and a couple pick swaps and all that stuff. Now you have one of the better packages, especially for a team that can't bottom out. Right? Now it's like, hey, you know what? Like, you'll have a starting 5 that's good enough to compete at least, right? And, if you end up landing a star, or Austin Reeves emerges into that star, or Darius Garland as like the solo guy, that, like, again, there could be that potential to where it becomes more plausible, right? That something like that could end up happening, right? Where I think right now it's a bit unrealistic for the Lakers. Now, obviously, things can change. Things can change in a hurry. If LeBron still wants out, right, maybe then you're doing the sign and trade with the Cavs and maybe you're getting a push from Giannis. That's like, "Hey, I only want to go to the Lakers," right? So now you're getting that package. We'll see. Time will tell. But realistically speaking, I don't think the Lakers should wait. Now, again, you can still, like, Lakers will still be able to make trades without having to give up their first, right? So, for example, the Portland trade. Matisse Thybulle, Robert Williams, you shouldn't have to give up your first in that trade. Both guys are injury prone. Both guys could just leave you in free agency, and neither guy is going to yield a first from any other team, or realistically shouldn't yield a first from some bad teams that make some bad decisions. So just even if the Lakers don't want to make and trade that first because they want to have the first to potentially have to go and make that move in the offseason, Lakers could do that and still make the moves to upgrade and further better along the roster. That's a real possibility, right? We will see how that kind of plays out. And if the Lakers can land that type of move. Also, you got to keep in mind, once you get to trade deadline, your expiring contracts become much more valuable because, teams want to get off a salary and stuff. And, Lakers want to preserve the cap space for 2027. But here's the other part of that, right? Any move to trade the expiring guys is likely going to yield back guys that are on, contracts, right? It's not a problem, right? Because Lakers are probably going to need contracts in order to make a trade work. Right? But that doesn't mean you want to take on a bad or terrible contract, right? You don't want to go and trade for a Jeremy Grant, his terrible contract, and be like, hey, we have him for Giannis. Like, no, that's going to end in disaster. Like, that's a terrible idea, right? But my point is, like, if you can find the right trades, the right moves, right? Like, let's say Miami. We'll just use Andrew Wiggins as an example, right? Just keep it simple. Let's say Miami's like, hey, we just want to get off Andrew Wiggins' salary next year. Okay, perfect. Then you can do that type of trade, throw in a Dalton Connect, boom, now you got an Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, you can trade, even if it's not to Milwaukee, you could trade somewhere else and end up getting an asset or so to then go package to do that, or maybe a young player from a team that, wants a veteran guy, so you can go get some players to go do that. So even bringing on some salary, I don't think would necessarily hurt the Lakers, right? It just depends on what that salary is. How does that work? But to me, I don't want to see the Lakers pass up opportunities because they're like, hey, we want to save the picks just in case Giannis or Jokic want to become available. Luka wants to win now. He's made that abundantly clear, right? Is it possible that this Lakers team can win a championship? Absolutely. You got LeBron James and Luka Doncic on your team, right? Like, they have a very good chance of winning. But obviously, there's holes on this roster. There's concerns with this team. Right? So we will see how this team meshes, how this team gels with DeAndre Ayton and Jake LaRavia, Marcus Smart, and these acquisitions. Again, Lakers could still go make a trade for like a Matisse Thybulle and a Robert Williams, or there's other trades out there that could probably just be salary trades, or maybe you're giving up your second or something like that and you're keeping your first, right? Or, you're adding Dalton Connect. There are options for the Lakers. The Lakers don't necessarily have to trade their first, especially for what has at least been reported and thrown out there. Right? A lot of the trades that are out there in circulation, Lakers don't really have to trade a first for any of those guys. But if that guy becomes available in which you could get for your first, you do it. Right? Like somebody like, a Jalen Suggs. Right? Let's say the Orlando Magic are like, hey, we want to get off of his salary, but we want your first and Dalton Connect. You do that trade all day, including Sunday, right? Again, just a name, or Herb Jones, right? If you can get a Herb Jones later in the season when he becomes trade eligible, and you can now give up your first or whatever to make that happen, you do that, right? Like, you don't go like, oh, we don't want to do that because we might get Giannis. My concern is we've seen the Lakers do this in the past. We've seen the Lakers even do this in Rob's tenure with Kawhi Leonard, right? Luckily, the Lakers were able to build out enough of a roster to win a championship that year, even with missing out on Kawhi Leonard. So the question is, though, would you be able to do that again if you miss out on Giannis? Right? Lakers would have a bunch of cap space, but it's like, who else are you going to get that makes like Giannis and Jokic and those guys? Like, those guys are good enough to where it's like, those, you have like the two top three players in all of basketball. You're probably, or at least should be, winning multiple championships. Again, you and me could be on that team in the starting five, and Giannis and Luka could probably win a championship with us. Right? Let's sign up and get some free rings, right? Like, again, it all has to kind of work itself out. My concern is the Lakers on a maybe kind of aren't willing to do what is necessary to win right now because of the hopes of the maybe. Now, I've talked about maybe the Lakers already know. If if I'm Rob and Luka comes to me and goes, hey, Jokic he's not going to sign the extension next season. He's coming here. He wants to come here. Me and him are going to play together. Just wait. Right? Maybe that's also why Luka said, I believe we can win right now, because he doesn't want, if he kind of has that out, right? If I am Rob and I know Jokic is coming, then yes, you do that. Right? Like if Luka comes to me and is like, hey, trust me, Jokic is coming, then yes. Hey, I'll chill. No worries. I'm gonna go on vacation, right? I'm not doing a thing because I know Jokic is coming. And if the Lakers don't win this year or next, it's fine because Jokic and Luka probably enough to win multiple championships. I mean, look at what Jokic has done with a Jamal Murray as his second best player. Imagine what he could do with Luka as his second best player, right? So again, that kind of thing. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Else from not, so we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.